I'm 26, and my fiancé is 28. We've been together for 6 years, engaged for the last 2, and our wedding is planned for November. On Monday night, around 2 a.m., I woke up to use the bathroom. As I walked past my fiancé's side of the bed, I noticed his phone screen light up with a message. Out of curiosity, I checked it. The message was from someone named Angie saying, "It was good to see you again. I had a lot of fun. We should do it again sometime." Alarm bells went off in my head. I started reading their conversations. There was nothing overtly flirty or sexual, but there were multiple chats about meeting up at her place, what they did, and how much fun they were having. I suddenly remembered that just the day before, my fiancé had plans to hang out with his sister, who had come into town. He'd invited me to join them, but I declined because I didn't want to intrude on their sibling time. I assumed he was with his sister that day, but after seeing these messages, I became convinced he was cheating on me. I locked myself in the bathroom and started crying. My fiancé heard me and came rushing in, concerned. Through my tears, I told him not to touch me and handed him his phone, demanding an explanation. He looked at the phone and suddenly laughed. That laugh broke me. I stormed out and locked myself in the spare bedroom. Through the door, he apologized for laughing, saying he didn't mean to and that it was just a tired, ridiculous reaction to the situation. I didn't listen. I told him to leave, which he did, retreating to our bedroom. The next morning, before he woke up, I packed some of my things and went to stay at my sister's house. Later that day, he texted me, saying he knew I had left but didn't try to stop me because of what happened the night before. He apologized again for laughing and explained that Angie is his sister Angelina's nickname. He told me I could confirm it with his sister or check their social media because there were pictures of their meetup. He didn't react to the hurtful things I said in my messages and instead told me the house was open for me to return anytime. He insisted we'd talk about everything face to face when I came back. Since then, he's only sent a few short texts asking if I'm okay and saying goodnight. I've tried calling him, but he says the conversation needs to happen in person. I feel horrible about how I acted, and I'm terrified to go home because I think he might break up with me. I know I overreacted and acted immaturely. How can I fix this? What should I say when I go back? The story begins with a woman who is deeply shaken by a misunderstanding with her fiancé. After suspecting infidelity due to a text exchange with his sister, whose nickname she failed to recognize in the moment, she panicked and stormed out of their home without discussing her concerns with him. Instead, she chose to stay with her sister, seeking emotional support and time to process what had happened. Her reaction was fueled by past trauma from a previous relationship, where she had been cheated on in a similar manner. This history clouded her judgment and caused her to act impulsively. However, over the following days, she began to reflect on her actions and realized that she had overreacted. Seeking advice. While at her sister's house, she discussed the situation and sought advice from her sibling and online forums. Most responses were critical of her behavior. Many people pointed out that her fiancé had given her no reason to doubt him and had been clear about his plans and the people he was seeing. The feedback she received emphasized the importance of communication and accountability. Readers urged her to address her trust issues and insecurities, apologize to her fiancé, and work on repairing the damage she had caused. She resolved to return home and have an honest conversation with him. The confrontation. The next morning, as she prepared to leave her sister's house, the doorbell rang. To her surprise, her fiancé arrived unannounced. Excited to see him, she moved to hug him, but he pushed her away. Hurt by his reaction, she followed him to the guest room for a private conversation. During this conversation, her fiancé expressed his disappointment and frustration. He explained that while misunderstandings could be forgiven, her reaction to the situation and her refusal to communicate with him for an entire week had deeply hurt him. He admitted that her insecurities and lack of trust had taken a toll on their 6-year relationship over time. He brought up specific examples where her insecurities had caused problems in the past. He also reminded her that she had referred to his sister Angela as Angie many times before. For him, this incident was a final straw, as it highlighted her inability to handle conflict maturely and rationally. Despite her attempts to explain herself, he dismissed her reasoning as excuses. He made it clear that he no longer saw a future together, stating that he wanted to end the relationship. The aftermath: her fiancé revealed that he had already made arrangements to cancel their wedding, and that all the money she had contributed would be refunded to her account. Before leaving, he wished her well, hoping she would find someone better equipped to handle her insecurities. True to his word, he and two friends returned later that day to drop off all her belongings at her sister's house. They unloaded everything on the lawn without engaging in further conversation and left. Her response: devastated by the breakup, she struggled to process what had happened. She spent the entire day crying, unable to eat or focus on anything. She admitted that she had been wrong and regretted her actions deeply, but she felt that the breakup was unfair. Public reaction: commenters on her post were largely unsympathetic. Many pointed out that she had let her insecurities ruin a long-term relationship with someone who had been patient and trustworthy. They advised her to accept the outcome, move on, and seek therapy to address her past trauma and trust issues. While the advice was difficult to hear, it echoed the thoughts of her fiancé and sister. If she wanted to have a healthy, fulfilling relationship in the future, she needed to work on herself first. Reflection: now, she is left grappling with her emotions and the reality of losing a relationship she had cherished for 6 years. While she cannot undo her mistakes, she hopes to learn from them and eventually find healing and growth.